Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations, where we generally look at one or another of the lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the daily office lectionary. And I thought today we would deviate from looking at a lectionary reading. We'll go back to it tomorrow, because I wanted to look at the saint that's assigned for today. Today is Tuesday, November 30th. And the saint on November 30th is one who gets overlooked because of all the excitement of Thanksgiving and the beginning of Advent, and he kind of gets lost in the mix. And that is Saint Andrew the Apostle. He's the patron saint of Scotland. And Saint Andrew, most biographies, and we'll read one today at the Holy Communion service from Lesser Feast and Fast from the Episcopal Church, most of the biographies start off, Andrew was the brother of Simon Peter, right? Simon Peter gets all the glory because, he's the chief of the apostles. He's one that Jesus renames the rock from Simon to Peter, and of course eventually goes on to be the great leader of the early church. Andrew is his brother. And the two of them get called together from fishing to be followers, more than followers, apostles of Jesus Christ. And so we'll talk about that during the Holy Communion service. But I thought I'd read today, instead of the daily office lesson, I'd read to you a little bit of the hagiography about his martyrdom. And this comes from a wonderful book called the Anglican Breviary, which is an office book. It has morning and evening prayer, plus all the other minor offices, and some additional readings for devotional use. And this is the hagiography for Andrew. And according to the aforementioned legend, Blessed Andrew's martyrdom was on this wise. It was a short while thereafter Andrew was brought before the judgment seat, where he extolled the mystery of the cross, and again rebuked Aegeus for his ungodliness, whereupon Aegeus, the leader, would bear him no longer, but commanded him to be crucified, in imitation of Christ. Then was Andrew led to the cross, and when as yet he saw it afar off, he cried out, O gracious cross, made so fair and goodly by the sweet body of my Lord, long have I desired thee. Constantly have I sought thee, and now that thou art made ready, my soul is drawn to thee. Welcome me from amongst men, and join me anew to my Master, that as by thee in death he redeemed me, so by thee he may take me unto himself once and for all. And so he was fastened to the cross, whereon he hung living for 2 whole days, during which time he ceased not to preach the faith of Christ, and finally passed into the presence of him, the likeness of whose death he had loved so well. Under the Emperor Constantine, the reputed relics of the apostle were first taken to Constantinople, whence they were afterwards brought to Amalfi. But in the pontificate of Pope Pius II, his head was carried to Rome, where it is kept in the Basilica of St. Peter, that the relics of these 2 blood brothers might be nigh each other. Blessed Andrew is revered as the patron of Scotland and of Russia, and his name is twice read in the Gregorian canon of the Mass, namely first in the canon proper and secondarily in the embolism. So that there's a little bit about Andrew. And of course the tradition is that cross that he was crucified on was in the form of an X rather than the usual T that we associate with a cross. And so it is, if you look at the heraldry of the Episcopal Church, the heraldry of the Episcopal Church has a white field with a big red cross across that. That's the cross of St. George, because of our background with the English Church. George is the patron of England. But in the top left corner of the flag or the shield is a blue field with white crosses in the form of an X, and that is as homage to the fact that our first bishop, Samuel Seabury, came from Scotland. He was consecrated by the Scottish bishops, and so in homage to the Scottish Church, we remember St. Andrew with a St. Andrew's cross on our heraldry as well. Today is Tuesday, 12:15 Holy Communion, 5 o'clock evening prayer, and I do hope that you will join us in prayer to glorify God, to receive the Blessed Sacrament, and to give thanks for the life of Andrew, Simon Peter's brother. I hope you have a day full of blessings.